What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Car from NY coming to you guys with another New York Giants video. I'm here with Big Sean as well. Today, we're going to be talking about the offensive line, mostly tackles and centers, as well as other Giants news as well. A lot of news that's been going on today, starting off with it's Evan Ingram. There's been trade rumors about the Giants maybe going to use Evan Ingram in a trade with the 49ers, as the 49ers have been very, very high on maybe adding Evan Ingram to their offense. If you ask me, I still think if the Giants are going to make this deal, they have to get a first-round pick and something else instead. If it's not a first-round pick, I'm just not doing it because there's no point, in my opinion, to trade a guy that you want to use in your future. But if you don't get the right assets in return, there's no point doing the trade. So that's how I feel.
I don't think it'll be a first round. I don't think
Yeah,
the 49ers are going to give up a first round pick. For Evan
exactly.
Ingram.
And they don't have a second, third, and fourth round, I believe. So
Well, I hope the Giants don't
Yeah.
trade him. I mean, I know it's a new coaching staff. They wasn't here when Dave Gettleman picked him, but I hope that the Giants still stick with Evan Ingram because Daniel Jones needs all the weapons he can to be successful. I'd be disappointed if the Giants trade him. Now, there's always feelers. They may get, like 49ers said they was interested, and the Giants is always going to answer the phone and talk and see if it's worth it. So maybe that's what's just going on.
Also, in other news, Justin Herbert was linked to the Giants as the Giants met with him, tried to just know about him because they somehow may see him in the future when they play against him or something like that. And a lot of Giants fans were taking this more seriously than they thought.
Yeah.
It's nothing big. It's just they're just going through their due diligence and learning more about each player so they can know what the right asset they want at the fourth overall pick or whatever they choose to decide to do there. But
It's
yeah,
just part of gamesmanship.
yeah, it's something to
Herbert's
freak
not
out.
going to be a quarterback. Daniel Jones is your quarterback.
Exactly.
Right now. And we hope that he's going to be the quarterback for the next 10 to 12, 13, 14 years maybe. All right. And so their job right now is to build that offensive line so Daniel Jones could be more successful out there. And so can Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely. That's what we're going to get started with right now. First, we're going to start off with the tackles. Now, the tackles that I had ranked mostly were first and second round. I only had one guy that I had ranked in the second round that I like. Other than that, there's no other tackles that I like. If the Giants are going to go get a tackle, it has to be the first round. Not if you ask me, 90% of the time, it's going to have to be the first round. That's where you're going to get the beast that you need for the next 10 to 15 years. Out of the first round, it's hard to see me going at anybody. I mean, none of those guys in the second round are going to be as good. I mean, just from my perspective, going to be as good as the guys in the first round. Those first four tackles. We also looked at some centers as well. I have about 3 to 4 centers that I like that the Giants could target in the second, third round. But we're going to get right to it. The first guy I had on my list was Tristan Wirfs. I've been a big guy on Tristan Wirfs. I've been a big fan of him. Big Sean has too. That's probably, if you ask me, that's probably our pick at 4.
Yeah.
If not one of our favorite players that we like in this draft. He's been linked to the Giants. The Giants have been in very good communications with Wirfs recently. So if you ask me, I still think that Tristan Wirfs will be the pick right now at 4. But a lot of people are still high on the Isaiah Simmons train. I was high on the Isaiah Simmons train. I'm now with the Wirfs train now. And that's where I think the Giants will go. But
yeah, I have him as my number one guy, and I'm really high on him. Like I said, he was a great athlete in high school too, all-state wrestler. He was great in track with shot put and disc. Very athletic. Like I said, his top build is like a tight end. His bottom is like a guard and a tackle. But he's the real deal. Kirk Ferentz, as you know, great at coaching offensive linemen at the University of Iowa. He's a plug-and-play guy right now, 6'5", 320, all the measurables, great attitude, hard-working young man. There's no red flags and no issues on him and stuff. So he's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, he excels, if you ask me, mostly in the run blocking. That's been his strength mostly. And I think he'll do a good job at that because the Giants are going to be running the ball more this year.
He's good at pass blocking, too.
Yeah, and he's good at I like his pass blocking. But especially the run blocking, it's good. I feel like the Giants will be running the ball a lot, similar to how the Cowboys did with Ezekiel Elliott. You'll see more of that with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going to get almost, I'd say he has to be getting almost 30 touches. Like, the guy's a freak. You got to give him the ball. You got to work your offense through him and spreading the ball out with Daniel Jones' arm. So he's a guy to look at for the Giants. The next guy I have on my list right now is Jedrick Willis, where I see the Giants going. A lot of mock drafts have him going to the Giants at 4. He's been the name that's starting to heat up around the franchise. But I still see a starter for the next 10 to 15 years in this guy. I mean, he did an excellent job at Alabama. He went against top pass rushers. He did his thing there, and that's what you gotta love about this guy. You watch the tape; it shows it all. This guy is very physical at the line of scrimmage, a lot of power in his upper body, and he's a name to watch out for the Giants at that number 4 spot.
Yeah, I got Jedrick Willis too, Sean. 6'4", 312, just a tough physical athlete. He plays with a chip on his shoulder and finishes well. He's a better pass blocker right now than he is a run blocker, but he's a good run blocker too. But he's excelled at pass blocking. And,
Absolutely,
he'd be a good fit too.
Yeah, he's been the guy that's been heating up. Like I said, a lot of people are very high on him over Wirfs because they feel like he would be more of a tackle than Wirfs. A lot of people are saying Wirfs is more of a guard. I disagree on that. I think Wirfs, in college, he played both right and left tackle. Yeah. So, he's going to do a solid job. It just depends on what they feel comfortable. Their best player available might not be our best player available or your best player available. It might be a defensive player they like, or they might like a certain tackle that we don't like. So it all depends on who's their best player on the board at the time. For me, the next guy I had on my list was Andrew Thomas. He was my 3rd ranked tackle, 6'5", 315 out of Georgia. A lot of teams have him ranked in the top 12. And I can't argue that because Andrew Thomas, he is the youngest out of all the tackles, I believe. And
I think it's Austin Jackson. Right?
And I just been very high on him, especially what he did at Georgia. He did a very solid job. Georgia has a very solid left and right tackle. So Jake Fromm, if you watch, he had a lot of time to throw the ball last season, especially his last season that he had year before to in 2018 to 2019, his numbers improved, his time in the pocket, and Andrew Thomas has a big factor in that. I would say he's the most pro ready because he's had the most experience. But the thing is, a lot of people are having him slit. I disagree. I still think this guy's a top. He could be the number 1 tackle taken off. So we'll have to see. There's 4 guys, but he's my 3rd ranked guy right now.
Yeah, I got him. Big athletic guy, 6'5", 315. Some of the things about him is that, he can start on either side. He can start on at left tackle, which he was mainly playing, and he can start at right tackle. And he could start right away, and he'll help in the run game. And as you know, Georgia plays in the SEC. They play against all the tough competition in the SEC, so he's already battle tested, and he's a smart young man too. So he'll be ready to go. So the Giants are very high on him too.
Yeah. Next guy I have on my list. This is my 4th ranked offensive tackle. This will probably be this is the second to last tackle. I have one more guy after this, But Mekhi Becton out of Louisville, he's been the prospect that's been jarting up the boards, a guy that a lot of people least expected to hop up, but he has a lot of talent. His combine improved it. He showed that he could be very athletic at the combine. His 40 time was pretty solid for offensive lineman at the size that he is. 357. That's a pretty big guy, man. But he's a dude that can play both sides. Now, right now, I feel like if the Giants did draft one of these tackles, I feel like eventually they're going to move him to left tackle, or they'll keep him at right tackle if they're doing a very solid job there. Just depends on how Nate Solder is playing too, because he is still under contract. So Mekhi Becton, he's like top 12, still ranked, but you can't argue which guy you like. I mean, you can argue each what you like about different prospects, but all these guys have the potential to be the number one tackle off the board. And Mekhi Becton is a name to watch there at that fourth spot.
Yeah, I got him in. He's a big man, guys. 6'7", he weighs 364 pounds. Very athletic. He has a lot of upside.
Mm-hmm.
And, the thing is, he needs to work on technique. Now, if he was picked by the Giants, we know Mark Colombo would do a fantastic job coaching him. If his Giant historians would know that Dallas Cowboys had a guy named Flozell Adams. He's kind of built like him. You know what I mean? Now, the Giants did have and Flozell was about 6'6", 6'7". Eric Williams was big like that, too, who played left tackle. And then the Giants had Big Jumbo Elliott from Long Island. He was he went to Michigan. He was like 6'7", like 330, a big guy too. Played for the Giants. He was on that 1990 Super Bowl team and stuff. So this guy may be Mekhi Becton may be more athletic than all of them, but he needs work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also
he has a lot of upside. He could be great, or also you got to be careful because some people think he could have bust mode to him. But,
yeah, that's the only issue I have with him. Also, he did fail one of the drug tests, but it's not that big of a deal because no one's counting it against him. But it's something you have to take with a grain of salt. You have to make sure, can we trust this guy? Do we have faith? Can I trust him to be out there all 16 games? So that's one thing to watch out for him. The next guy I have on my list is the last tackle I have. It's Austin Jackson. I have him ahead of Josh Jones, but he's 6'5", 322. He ran a 5.07 as a 40, but he's one of the guys that I feel like out of those first four tackles, I feel like he would be the next guy to go, but it's not going to be till the second round, and I've just felt that if for a Giants fan, we really need to fix this offensive line. Take one of those top tackles, plug them in, and you're going to be set. I still have questions about his blocking, especially on pass coverage. But other than that, Austin Jackson has a lot of potential. But it depends. The Giants, I don't know where they're going to put him. Most likely right tackle. I see him still being more of a left tackle, but we'll have to see what they do there. But Austin Jackson's a name to watch out for because he could lead to the Giants in the second round if they go linebacker.
Yeah, he comes from a factory at a school at USC who historically always had good tackles. You know what I mean? Tony Casillas, not Tony Casillas, but Tony Baselli and Anthony Munoz. Anthony Munoz, is in the Hall of Fame, played in the early 80s, late 70s with USC. Was a phenomenal. Some people think that he's one of the top 5 best left tackles of all time. And then, as you know, Tony Baselli, who played with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was a left tackle, should be in the Hall of Fame, probably won't get in there. I mean, USC have put out some really good tackles, and he's in that bunch, they say. He's 6'5", 320, very raw. He has a lot of athletic talent. He's young. He's only 20 years old. But he played in a tough conference.
Also, I have to add to that.
He has hit and miss potential, too. We need good coaching, like all offensive linemen.
Yeah. Also, he had one game against Iowa where it really showed about his athleticism, how he got exposed against AJ Espinosa. But other than that, Austin Jackson, watch
I
out
got
for
another
him.
guy too.
He does have another
Yeah, I
guy.
got Josh Jones, folks. University of Houston, 6'5", 319. He has a high ceiling too. You know, when you look at him, sometimes it looks like the Incredible Hulk. He has a little bit of inconsistency at games, but he's the one that's a senior, and he played in the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is a senior, and I think if the Giants didn't get the top four and he was there, I think he can come in and play left tackle because he's athletic. If you look at him, the guy looks athletic, and then
He does look
does
like a beast.
pretty good on his tape too. So I think he, you know, if he wins it with Simmons or somebody else in the first round, or for some reason, you know, Chase Young dropped to you or something like that, which would have to be a miracle. I think he, you know, he'd be a good fit for the Giants because I have a lot of faith in Mark Colombo. I think he can.
Yeah,
coach
I
guys
feel like he's
up,
going to fix Nate Solder,
and
especially.
yeah, and yeah, you know, so he's another guy to look at.
Yeah, we're now going to move to the centers because the Giants do need a center, if you ask me. There's been a lot of names thrown out there of guys already on the roster, like Nick Gates, hopefully being the next center for the New York Giants. I still think they need to draft a guy who can start. But also, there's some guys on this list that I have that can compete. But let me start right with it. First guy I have on here is Cesar Ruiz, the best center out there right now. He decided to skip his senior season, but he is in the right position going into the draft where he's going to make solid money either way. If he would have waited till next year, he would have still been in the same area. But Ruiz is a 3-year starter at Michigan. Does a solid job at making those double team plays with the guards and getting to the middle linebackers. I really like this kid. He shows that he could be a 10 to 15 year starter in the NFL. He's been a lot of people's top center right now. He has enough size and also can compete as guard as well. So if you have a guy that gets hurt, you can move Nick Gates to center if you need to, or Spencer Pulley, and then have this guy play guard sometimes if it's Willie Hernandez or Kevin Zeitler. So he's a name to watch out for the Giants.
Yeah, no, I pick him. He's coming in
Mm-hmm.
at center right off the bat. He's 6'3", 307 Michigan. He's a well-balanced blocker, and he's great against the pass rush. And then he has leadership qualities on him too. So he would be able to anchor that line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, him with Will Hernandez on one side and Kevin Zeitler on the other side. And then you're going to have your Tristan Wirfs or Willis, or if it's Andrew Thomas. That would be
That's
a really good
a dream
offensive line.
scenario for
Yeah,
me
because
right
I
now.
think Nate Solder is going to have a better year because Joe Judge knows him and has confidence in him. And like we said, Mark Colombo, he'll be able to help these guys.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like the Giants, if they're going to go offensive tackle in the first round, they have to find a way to get one of these centers. So I feel like if the Giants, the dream scenario for the Giants fans right now, a lot of people want to say, "Oh, they want all these special guys like safeties, linebackers, wide receivers." Man, if you can build a solid offensive line for this young core that you already have, you will do damage in the NFL. You will get to the playoffs consistently, not just a year and a couple years later. I feel like if the Giants focus on that center and tackle position going into next season, there will be a lot of high hopes for this team next season. I promise you that they will do very, very good.
Because we don't want to see Andrew Jones on his back a lot. And also, one of the problems we had with, not just with Pat Shermer, with McAdoo, is the Giants did not they did not excel well at the 4-minute offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they both of those coaches talked about it, in the past. We got to excel and maintain a 4-minute offense so they can close games out. But they had a problem with that under these two coaches.
Yeah.
With a really good offensive line, you have a really good running back, a great running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got solid receivers. You got to.
You'll be able to,
Yeah.
work the clock out, and then you don't have to rely on the defense. Who at times the Giants had a lot of leads, but the defense let us down because they just weren't good enough. But if we had that 4-minute offense, we'd have been able to end the game running the ball and working the clock.
Absolutely. So we're gonna run through these sevens real quick because we are running low on time here, guys. But Lloyd Cushenberry III from LSU. He's one of those leaders on that LSU offensive line. He's a 10 to 15-year starter in the NFL. That's what is projected. The only issues that a lot of scouts have with him is his pass blocking. I don't know if he has the reach, but he has the bend and leverage to be a very solid run blocker. But like we said, Mark Colombo will definitely help fix that. I'm not really too worried about it. You got plenty of guys out there to help this guy as long as veterans on the team. But he's a guy to watch out for. I think he's going to go early second round.
Well, if he's there, yeah, I think the Giants will look at him. He's another guy, 6'3", 312. I like that. Height and weight. Battle tested. Played on the championship.
Yeah, I like the big center, too.
He's a good blocker, very dependable, especially in the ground game. Probably needs a little bit more work on his pass blocking, but smart, intelligent young man, and he's a winner.
Yep, absolutely. Next guy I have on here is Tyler Biadasz, I believe that's his name. He's from Wisconsin. Wisconsin's running game with Jonathan Taylor. Remember, it was 2 back-to-back 2,000 2,000 all-purpose yard season, I believe. Jonathan Taylor had a lot of room to run, especially in the inside zones. You can watch Biadasz does a great job run blocking for that team. Some may question his pass blocking. That will be fixed, especially with what the Giants will be running, especially with Garrett and Colombo. I think that he'll do a solid job. But he produced a lot of help in Jonathan Taylor's running game last season. Just watch the tape. Watch especially the inside zones that Jonathan Taylor ran. Biadasz did a lot to contribute to that offense. So
yeah, another guy. He's a little bit tall, 6'4", 314. He's great at handling bull rushes, you know what I mean? Which you're going to get that, especially when you go up against great defensive tackles and nose guards and stuff.
Yeah.
And what's great on his resume, he anchored that line.
Yeah, and they played against good
Jonathan Taylor
lines.
2 times rushed for over 2,000 yards at the University of Wisconsin. And they love to run the ball. They run. And their offensive linemen they're taught very well about how to block, either zone blocking or whichever type of blocking scheme that they use at Wisconsin. He did an excellent job at it.
Yeah, and I believe he's going to be even better than what he is already. Next guy is Matt Hennessy, who actually went to a prep school, I believe, in New Jersey. Grew up a Giants fan as well, from Temple, 6'4", 307. He missed some time with a concussion last season, but he did a very, very, very solid job in 2018. But he's a guy to watch out for. He's very, very strong. Sources say that Hennessy helped himself on the field and in the interview room. He's a very good speaker, from what a lot of reporters have said, and it's boosted his draft stock, making him have that leader mentality coming into this draft has boosted him up a lot, and that's what I like to hear. The Giants will definitely be looking at this guy. Like I said, grew up a Giants fan, prep school in New Jersey. He's a guy to watch out for.
Yeah, and I think he'll be there for them.
In third round.
He might even be there in the third round. But one of the things, like Sean was saying, that he's strong, but some reports says that he lacks strength and needs to do a little bit more work in the weight room and stuff. but he's good athlete. He's
Yeah,
good
he just
athlete and
asked.
stuff.
He needs to add a little bit more
So he
strength.
needs
But I like the
good,
push that he gets
strength
off the
and
line.
conditioning program would work well for him. But he's definitely somebody that the Giants. I'm quite sure they watched a lot of tape on him, and he's probably on their board.
Yeah, mostly it's his. He has a lot of athleticism and quickness, which you like to see that from a center, especially a guy coming from a school that puts out a lot of talent in that area. He's a name to watch out for. Like I said, third round would be where he's projected. The Giants may have to move up for him if they really want to get him, since the Giants do have a late third round pick, so they will have to move up a couple spots, I believe, to get him. But he's the last guy I have on my list.
I got one guy.
Got one more guy?
Nick Harris, center out of Washington. Now, he's not as big as the other guys. He's like 6'1", 300. May have to. Now, he's a good athlete, good athlete, but he may have to work his way into the starting lineup. So he might have to start as a backup and then progressively work his way up, into a starting position. Very solid blocker, will thrive under good coaching. And, well, that's pretty much all athletes. Good coaching, athletes would thrive under. Bad coaching, some athletes, they'll go south, you know what I mean? And, they won't become the player that you wanted them to be when you drafted them.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
These are some guys that we know the Giants have a lot of information on, did a lot of homework on, and there's other guys out there too. It seems.
Yeah, there'll be other guys
other
later,
too,
but I just feel like the Giants have to target these positions early. That's why I have most of these guys as early picks, because that's where they're going to have to go. First, second, and third round is going to be where they have to target offensive line. Our next video out should be since we did offensive line, I believe we're going to do running backs and receivers is what we're going to do. Or we're going to split it into two videos. Do running backs, wide receivers. We're going to leave out the tight ends and quarterbacks since the Giants don't need any of those two positions.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are
unless they're looking for a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy. We'll look at some guys in the later rounds.
Yeah, Colt McCoy right now, they're pretty satisfied with him, but they're always looking because they can draft somebody on free agent, and like Green Bay has always does. They just draft a quarterback anyway.
Yeah,
they develop them and then they trade them.
Yeah, absolutely. So running backs will be next, and then last we'll do receivers or quarterbacks will be last. But you guys stay tuned. I hope you guys stay blessed and healthy.
Take care of yourselves.
Yeah, and make sure if you guys haven't subscribed, you'll see it once we're done, you'll see it pop up. As well as I will have my Spotify that pops up where you can listen to our newest podcast. I will be actually doing the podcast tomorrow, since I don't have much going on tomorrow. I will have the podcast out, as well as my Twitter. You guys can follow, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more stuff.
Yeah, we're just a couple of ways, guys. A couple of days away.
3 days away.
Okay, got to be excited.
So you guys stay tuned.
Go Giants.